fish caught the fish. And so there we are, tiny little fish, just holding by the jaw. Ooh. Well, that little fish took a tiny midge. It was about a size 22, cooler canard midge. A little bit larger than the midges that are around the place, but it deceived the fish, that'll do it.
Ah! Yes,
Oh, well
better
done,
one.
John. That looks a better fish.
That is a better fish.
Oh, that is a much better fish. That's a good fish. Well, that's a good fish. Well done. Where exactly did that take, John?
But under the last overhanging branch there.
So that was its lie under there. Oh, it's a good fish. Brill. Play it gently, John.
Me play a fish gently, Malcolm? You must be joking.
Play it gently. Did that take the wire buzzer?
It took a little black tide, wee spidery pattern. Very sparsely tied, wee spidery pattern. Don't go out there, fish.
Sorry, I haven't got the reel on the wrong side for you, John. Oh, that's a nice fish.
By the time I get this beastie in, it'll have half the weed and the strewl.
Let's have a look at it. And it's got yeah, it's got a lot of blanket weed around as well. So that weighs what, about a pound and a quarter?
About a pound and a quarter, I'd say.
That's a nice one. Well done, John.
Nice wild trout, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing. This river is never ever stocked, is it?
Nope.
People always think, and it's crap in it, John, that a river with little trout in never has any big ones.
Well, it is nonsense.
What's the biggest you've seen quite a few?
Just under 2, but I know they're fishing here 3 and 4 pounds, but they tend to be under the far bank, and the time you'd fish for them is when the grills are in, and you tend to ignore them. You know, you fish under the sage at night. Yeah.
Of course, yeah. But there we are. Now that was feeding on midges, and you can see the fly that John got it on, which is a black magic we tied earlier in the programme, which is an outstanding midge imitation for both river and for lake. There's a trout to prove it. And we'll have that for breakfast tomorrow, John, with a bit of bacon.
Sounds very nice. As long as you cook it, Malcolm.
I'll cook it. It is my privilege to be sitting in the garden of Ted Malone, author of the classic textbook on Irish trout and salmon flies, and to look at some of the beautiful flies he's tied. And we're looking at these mayflies. Ed, quite a lot of these are dry. Do people fish more dries than the old wets now?
Yes, I think at mayfly time certainly they fish dries very much so. You have more chance fishing dries at mayfly time when the fish are rising than you have fishing wets.
Now this is a wolf variation, isn't it?
Yes, I tied some wolves here, especially the colours are different from normal in that I find that most mayflies are tied far too bright, far too yellow. And I prefer to see them with a brownish green tinge.
Right.
So I tied these with a brown cree grizzle hackle and an olive, mixed them 2 hackles together for the body, and they work very well. As you can see, there's a nice dark brown,
Yeah, it looks good.
olivey colour.
Yeah. And now these are the old goslings.
Well, some of these are the old flies. You see, the like of that.
Yeah.
The old fan wing. The story about a fan wing I can tell you, and they look very nice.
Yeah.
When I first started my first fishing expedition,
Yeah.
involved a fan wing similar to that. As a boy, I used to go up Royal Avenue in Belfast, which was the main thoroughfare, and there was a fishing tackle shop there called Hunters, no longer there. And in the window at this particular time, it must have been about May, because in the window was a piece of a bough, and stuck on the bough, of course, was a number of fan-winged mayflies.
Yeah.
And I looked with my nose against the window at these, and I thought, I'd love one of those. And I ran messages
Yeah.
until I got tuppence,
Yeah.
which bought me a fan-winged mayfly.
Yeah.
And I went into the shop with my tuppence, and I said to the fellow, I could still see his face, I want one of those flies in the window. And he said to me, what do you want one of those for? I said, I'm going to fish. I had no idea where I was going to fish by day, because fishing and water was nowhere near where I lived. I insisted, and I bought one of those for tuppence. That was my first fly.
Right.
And I took it the following Sunday. I walked, and I lived in the centre of Belfast. I walked, I must have been about 10-year-old, I suppose. I walked from the centre of Belfast right up onto the mountain here behind us, to McQuillan's quarry,
Yeah.
where there was a quarry hole. And I had an old piece of cane and line, and I attached this. I don't know how I attached the fly to the line, but somehow I did. And I got on top of this old pool, and I dropped the whole lot, the fly in, so the fly just sat on top of the water like that. And I sat down and waited for the fish to come. And of course, I was still waiting there, because there weren't any fish in the water. But that was my initiation, if you like, into a mayfly.
I mean, the great problem with those is if you're not careful, they do twist your leader up, don't they?
They twist, and you can hear them actually. You'll twist the leader, but they're tied in different ways. If you take, there's one there, look.